Fantastic. That was a great talk. And now we're going to shift topics slightly. We're still going to be talking about technology, don't worry. But we are going to move into healthcare. Guys, I was going to say, there were some people at the back. There are plenty of seats if anyone wants to file forward. Like, don't feel like you have to stand at the back. It's the afternoon. People are tired. Sit down. Enjoy yourself. But yeah, our next talk is called Building the Hospital of the Future. And our next guest is going to share their wealth of knowledge on this very topic. I'd love you to give a welcome to Natalie Mayerhofer, who is the associate to, just one second, I'll give a little intro. Sorry, I built it up and you went with it, and I appreciate that, but hold it and we'll all go together. I love the enthusiasm. Associate to the Chief Learning Officer at CHUM, co-founder at the CHUM School of AI in Healthcare, and Pascal, St-Onge manager, Center for Integration and Analysis of Medical Data, which is known as CITADEL, and also the CHUM Research Center. Please welcome to the stage, get ready, Natalie Mayerhofer. Woo!
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I actually promised Carolyn backstage that I would do my best to try and make everybody laugh at least once today. So just so you know, I fully expect your collaboration on that. And so we're going to start today's topic, which is building the hospital of the future. So just so that I manage your expectations, step one for building the hospital of the future is actually grabbing a shovel and start working on actually building a state-of-the-art hospital. And we're not going to go in the detail of that, as you can imagine, because we're talking about the Centre Hospitalier de l'Université de Montréal, in this case, locally known as the CHUM, not CHUM. And the reason I specify it is because CHUM actually means something completely different here in Quebec. It's the word for boyfriend, so there you go. And it actually took 10 years to build. And to give you an idea of how vast this center is, it's actually the second biggest in North America on one site. I'm told it's second biggest after Houston. So the CHUM is actually offers specialized and highly specialized care to the population of Quebec, to 500,000 patients a year. We serve 3.4 million people throughout the university network. We're a group of about 20,000 actors on any given year. And these are statistics from COVID times, so they're not quite the same. And about 30% of our community is actually made up of students and interns. We're an academic hospital, and we really do play a decisive role in improving the health and population here in Quebec. And so once you've built this fantastic hospital, and it's taken you all these years, so the next step is actually to sort of to think about your AI strategy. Obviously, we're at the World AI Summit. I can't talk about anything else. And that strategy in this case is actually made up of three big sections in its most simplest form. The first is its people, so the talents involved, the skills, and the second is its expertise in its infrastructure in terms of data. And the third is a series of AI projects that are actually on the field and being integrated within its portfolio at different levels of integration. And in 2018, a key moment for the CHUM and its AI strategy, we launched two major initiatives. So with my team, we launched the School of AI in Healthcare, and at the same time, Dr. Michael Chassé, who was here earlier today, launched CITADEL, and I'm joined obviously by Pascal, who's representing CITADEL today. So to start this conversation, I'd like to ask you, so could you bring us back to 2018 and remind us of what the data situation was like at the hospital back then?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the introduction, Natalie. So back in 2018, I would say that this need comes earlier on, but back in 2018, there was a clear need at CHUM to get access to healthcare data for research purposes. And that's what CITADEL is all about. You know, there's such a huge amount of data that was sitting and was encapsulated within our walls, and we just needed a core facility to liberate this data. So it encompasses administrative data, clinical data, as well as research information. And just all this information has just huge potential to improve patient care, patient outcome, hospital operation, and medical knowledge. And just to give you a little bit of context, so as of today, CHUM, and we saw it in the previous slide, so we are close to 4 million unique patient records, over 20 million episodes of care records with a multitude of data related to it. And Dr. Chassé told it this morning, so all this data is really fragmented across close to 120 different source systems. So that gives you an idea that to harness the potential of the data that we have, we really needed a sophisticated data infrastructure as well as a dedicated team of experts capable of analyzing, managing, and really interpreting the complex data that we have.
So you mentioned the data and building the expertise around it. Those aren't small challenges at all. How did you tackle that at CITADEL?
Yeah, so for me, there are three key elements that are crucial for success. So the first one is data integration, data management. So at CITADEL, we are responsible for the data lake at CHUM that is now used both for research and operation as well. So we built this infrastructure and we integrated many of the source systems that are in the hospital, and we just make the link between them and really make sense of how to get access to all those sources and the information within it. The second thing would be to build an advanced team of data analytics. And again, at CITADEL, we are fortunate to have close to 25 members now that are from multidisciplinary background. So it ranges from bioinformatics, biostatistics, data science, obviously, and as well as database management. So all those experts, they really collaborate together to really gather all the information and get the best value out of the data that we have. The third factor is and it's the core idea behind CITADEL, is really to facilitate collaboration between all the stakeholders of the institution. And there's an expression, you know, like we say, build it and they will come. So I think the numbers speak for themselves. If you look at your left, over the past 5 years, we actually participated in over 350 research projects, and we serve more than 125 different research users. And that was the idea. And here, it's all about breaking silos. You know, breaking silos between the different data sources, the silos between the different expertise to make people collaborate a little bit more, and also breaking silos between the different stakeholders, whereas it's a research environment and order operation, for example. And ultimately, this is really the mission of behind CITADEL, is really to improve data science within the healthcare domain.
And you know, obviously, you're very sought after internally and from external partners as well to be able to collaborate and work with all this data. Could you give us maybe an example of one of the projects that really gives us an idea of how we are moving towards the hospital of the future?
Yeah, so we have a huge amount of data at CHUM, but it's not enough, and it's also not representative of the general population of the province of Quebec. So you can see the diagram at your left. We maybe two and a half years ago, close to 3 years, we started the CODA platform. So it stands for the Collaborative Data Analysis, and this is a platform that really makes the links between multi-institution in the province, and it leverages the latest federated analytic techniques. So in other words, what we have as of today is really 8 hospitals spread across the province of Quebec that are linked together. With this kind of platform, you share the information without transferring the actual data. So it keeps the data privacy. We can build models with it. We can have more data to build our models. And what is really, I mean, the thing that we are really proud about this platform is that if you go to the website, so all the deployment code is totally open source. So you can go to the website, you can access it, you can ask questions to us if you need to.
So you have this amazing platform. It's being deployed across multiple hospitals at the moment. It's still in development. What are your challenges? What's preventing you from moving forward at the right rate?
Yeah, so like you said, still in development, and there are many challenges. If I have to point one, I would go towards the adoption level that is different between the stakeholders. And it comes to many subjects that we covered yesterday and this morning as well, whereas it's about trusted AI, how we can make people on the field trust what we are building, what we give them as a tool.
So adoption is a major issue, and it is important to be able to develop skills, accompany healthcare workers in order to be able to prevent slowdown from adoption and resistance. And I can't say this loud enough. I won't scream, but don't underestimate the time it takes and the energy it takes to be able to do that properly. To give you some idea of what the situation here is in Canada, if we look at doctors alone, we know that they overwhelmingly expect AI to transform their profession. It's a very deep statement to be able to say that. And 75% of them actually do think AI will bring good and will improve healthcare. So how ready do you think the next generation, those medical residents, are in order to be able to integrate AI? Well, the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons here in Canada surveyed in 2020 those residents and found out that only 1% had taken an AI course as part of their official curriculum, and only 6% could code. So the good news is behind that is that healthcare workers as a whole, 85% of them really do want to learn more about AI, so the willingness is there. Unfortunately, AI is one of many other themes and subject matters that they have to be able to absorb and learn about on a regular basis. COVID alone was something like 300 articles per day. Now imagine 300 articles per day after a 16-hour shift in the ER. It's not easy. And remember that a hospital, in this case an academic hospital, it's interdisciplinary, it's pluridisciplinary, and on top of that, we treat patients and we teach and we train 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is no break. So it's clear that we need to do things differently in order to be really able to accompany this change that's coming.
Yeah, and I know all the elements that you mentioned, they are really at the core of why you launched the School of AI 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, in 2018, we could already see that there were a lot of projects that were emerging from the field already. So that was, I suppose, a good news. And we could already see the writing was on the wall. We knew AI was coming. It was on its way. It was already there. And we knew a certain disruption was inevitable, not only for our organization, but actually for the healthcare system as a whole. So we decided to tackle the challenge. And not just AI in its complexity, but also healthcare is hugely complex. And we couldn't do it alone, so we bunkered down with about 150 stakeholders. And what came out of that was a model, I would say, a strategy, as well as some very important lessons. So I'm going to share a few of them with you today. So in terms of the model, it's a three-part model. So the first is training, courses, development in order to be able to build those skills. The second one is research, obviously, in order to be able to answer the unknown and generate new knowledge when it's necessary. And the third is, it goes back to something we do a lot in medicine, which is simulation, which is the idea of being able to train in a safe learning environment. And once those three, we call them our three bubbles, emerged, they also came, like I said, that richness of the discussions brought forth three key lessons. So the first was that you can't just train doctors. You have to really train everybody in healthcare about AI, the risks and the possibilities, which means patients, nurses, doctors, everyone. So lesson one really is leave no one behind. Lesson two was we all have different needs. We all want to learn differently. Pascal's professional development needs are not the same as CHUM's lawyers or lab technicians, right? And some of us like podcasts, other people like to read books. So it's really important to really have a diversity of options available to everyone. So lesson 2 really isn't, one size does not fit all in this circumstance. And I'm going to quickly skim through because I know I don't have much time, but we're actually showing on the stage what's referred to as a competency framework. And for those of you who are not in education, it essentially maps out all the skills that are required in order to integrate AI into healthcare. It's the cornerstone of all of our programming and our educational tools. And our third lesson was that the skills that are necessary aren't just technical and hard skills. They're actually a lot of soft skills. So if you want to change your status quo when you wake up in the morning, you need to be able to develop in yourself something that's called a growth mindset. You want to transform, you want to bring change, you need to be able to engage and inspire others. And when actually working with AI, it's important to have developed what we refer to as the capability to do mindful choices with AI and not necessarily by AI.
Yeah, exactly. And we've heard it over the past 2 days. So the idea is really to develop AI around the humans.
Yeah.
So to really provide our healthcare professional with another tool in their arsenal.
Yeah, and so I'll skip through to the last slide, and what I'll actually do is say, so this is vaguely how the CHUM is actually building the healthcare of the future. And so the way we're doing it is obviously through our AI strategy, but really focusing on developing everyone's skills, but also focusing on data. And now we're able to work on some really cool projects. So just a few seconds, Pascal, perhaps one of your cool projects, and then I'll share one of mine too.
Yeah, sure. So you saw the CODA platform. This is definitely cool, but there's another one that I really like working on, and it's in collaboration with the Ministry of Health here in the province of Quebec. And the idea of this project is to develop predictive models to really improve patient flow within the hospital. So the hospital, we started with the emergency room, and we already have promising results. And this is really something ongoing that really paves the way for the hospital of the future.
Yeah, and so on our side, we're actually going to train 40 to 50 what we refer to as pioneers in AI and oncology this fall. So if you know of any amazing projects, raise your hand or come see us. So here in Quebec, the idea is to train them to teach their peers on the field to be able to really facilitate the integration of AI responsibly and ethically, of course, because we have to remember that we're doing this for the benefit of patients.
Yeah, so Natalie mentioned it. We are an academic hospital, so we are always on the lookout for collaborators from other hospitals, other research group, and so always looking as well for talent to join our team.
Yeah. So that was it. That was a quick description. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Natalie and Pascal. I think we have time for one question. And I saw a hand. There we go.
This is not even a question. It is first, thank you for your presentation. The competency framework is outstanding. As one who spent 10 years in healthcare as organizational effectiveness education, you're right on target. And this is a framework we may need to use in higher education to help people learn AI and other technical fields. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's amazing.
Thank you. Well, we might have time for one other, actually. If there are any other hands, I think there's a gentleman here. If we can get a microphone. If you want to wave your hand around, sir. There we go. There we go.
That was some really good waving.
You got it. That was good waving.
Yeah. You've got talents.
So
just a brief one.
Okay, question technically isn't from me. I asked ChatGPT what's the most important unanswered question about AI applications in healthcare. So I guess GPT wants to know what can we do to ensure ethical use of data and algorithms?
That's a conference in itself. What can we do to ensure ethical use of algorithms, right?
Of the data and the algorithms in the hospital. And with the hospital's data.
In 30 seconds.
Yeah, so I'll start and I'll continue. So obviously you have to be ethical and responsible for your entire spectrum of what you're doing. So we did it from the beginning with the creation of our school, but you do it as well with regards to the data that you use, the methods that you use.
Yeah, so far we are using the data only for research purposes, and that comes with ethical board approval. It comes with all the regulatory framework of the province of Quebec. And there are strict rules regarding all legal and ethical use of data. So this is the framework that we're working on.
And we provide tools, and it's definitely one of the key competencies that we feel are important for everybody to develop.
Thank you very much. Great question.
Thank you.
And thank you for a great discussion. Natalie and Pascal.
Thank you.
And apologies to Pascal, who I didn't introduce properly. I had a brain blank as you came on. So thank you very much. Great big hand.
Thanks.
Right, moving on. We have